Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video, back with a new gunsmithing project. This is the Remington Model 11 Defender project. Basically what I'll be doing is I'll be turning a factory Model 11 Remington shotgun into a personal defense shotgun. In this video I'm gonna see how far I can get with using this pipe cutter to cut this barrel down. Now this is the original barrel that came with the gun. I'm not getting a replacement. A few reasons. One, I know I said that I don't want to cut down the factory barrel, but I had to come to terms with the fact that I have no use for a hunting shotgun. At least for personal taste. I'm not. They're just not something I'm really into. Now I do have a barrel for one of my other shotguns that I could use for hunting, and it has that's the Western Field Model 550 that has an adjustable choke. That's enough if I ever wanted to go hunting with it. But if any other gun that I have, any other shotgun rather, I like riot shotguns. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have my personal feelings on personal protection and public defense. But I have a thing for riot shotguns, police shotguns, SACF shotguns, and so I have no use for a barrel this long. I'm not too concerned about having to sell this. In fact, I think if I ever had to, if I did have to get rid of this, I probably would get a bit more in the configuration I'm going to turn it to than if I left it as a regular hunting variant. But as it stands, I like home defense, personal defense, SACF, zombie shotguns, and this would be the first one I ever worked on that's an autoloader. So it'd be a pretty interesting project to work on. But jump right into it. I started this a little bit right here towards kind of towards the muzzle, and there's not much, but there really is no taper here, so the cutter was actually stay on track. Now, what I want to see if I can actually use the cutter to go all the way through, and maybe finish it off with a hacksaw, just so there's just so I can have a clean cut, because normally when you're cutting out shotgun barrels. Unless you have a muzzle facing tool, the face of the muzzle can be crooked, could be jagged, could be rough, could be too rough of a cut. Then you have to smooth it out. So right now I have this tape marked at 18.5 inches, and I'm just gonna go through this and just to see how well this will look after just using this regular pipe cutter. And then after, if this is and then this cut's pretty clean, then I'll decide whether I want to use it all the way around with this, or we'll have to use a hacksaw. Okay, so I'd say after about maybe 15 minutes of using that pipe cutter, I have a nice clean cut. I haven't deburred it yet, but the cut is very consistent, very smooth. Um, it'll be a lot smoother when I get the burrs out of this. But I think this is actually a good method. Like I said, one thing I had to do was make sure that I went around. I went around once. Well, I went around a few times just to track where the cutter was going, and if it made a consistent, if there was basically a consistent ring around the barrel without any interruptions, then I figured I'll keep going at it. That meant that it could just keep pressing down the same spot, and it just showed right here. It did a very smooth cut. So now I'm going to do the same thing right here where I had this tape. I used this center punch, and I scribed along the tape just so I can have basically a kind of a guideline as to where I want the cutter to go. But I like that. I like how that looks. Fortunately, I don't have a vent rib on this barrel, so I didn't have any interruptions. But now I'm gonna take this tape off, and I'm gonna go around it with the pipe cutter, and we should have an 18.5 inch barrel for the Remington Model 11. By the way, I also want to say that I did put some Tri-Flow Superior lubricant on the cutting wheel and on the rollers to make the process go along a lot smoother, and to reduce the chance of dulling the cutting blade. Because one of the things I've seen in other videos The cutting blade on these will get jacked up pretty quickly. I'm not sure if it was if the person is moving too fast, or they're not turning the dial um, properly. Maybe they're making it too tight. But I just incrementally went around, slightly tighten this, and then going around some more. So I took my time. You can get pretty good results when you take your time with doing stuff like this. Same as if you're using a hacksaw, which you've seen in other videos that I've done. I've used a hacksaw, or I use the Dremel cutting wheel, and as long as you take your time, you'll have pretty good results. So let me get to working on this. Stay tuned. Just a quick clip. This will show you where the line is, and let me see if I can find where I marked it. Let's see. I did use a mark. I scratched into the barrel a measurement. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Okay. Wipe away some of this oil. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look closely, right there, I have it marked. I have 18.5 inches. So that's why I marked it some time ago, and that's just to show where I want to start cutting. So I just want to show you guys that the kind of info I put on the barrel. Let me go back at it, and there we go. So with a little bit of some more tri-flow, and afterwards using I use some of this. What grit is this? This is 60 grit sandpaper to get rid of the burrs. And then I use some plumber's sandpaper that's used for smoothing out copper. You got a smooth cut. So now this barrel is at 18.5 inches long in length. Which I think it'll be a pretty good length for this project. So if you're using this, if you're going to use a pipe cutter, a couple of tips I want to give you. Like I said before, make sure your cutting wheel is in good shape. This one is. When I was using this, I had the rollers towards the end that I was going to keep. So so far that worked out well for this. The section with the gaps, I had that towards the muzzle. I'm going towards the muzzle. Use some oil. This is just tri-flow, but you can use some cutting oil if that's what you have available. Use a measuring tape to mark off how long you want the barrel to be, and use something like a center punch, like a hardened tool to kind of make a scratch. Or what I did was I made a small scratch, and I got some masking tape, wrapped it around the barrel. There's the tape right here I took off, and then carefully went around it with the same tool to kind of etch in a guideline for the tool to run on. Take your time. Don't try to go too fast. You could go off track. The most important part, you're trying to go slow enough to where you can make the first complete ring around the barrel, and then you can maybe increase your speed a little bit, but don't go too fast initially. You want to take your want to make sure you have that guideline. You want to make sure you go along the guideline that you set, and that makes a nice straight smooth groove all the way around the barrel. No, you don't want to do like a screw. And then when you're done, just get some sandpaper, something that's not gonna change that's not going to put any definite changes on the inside diameter of the barrel. And by that I mean you're not using like a file or a stone that's not rounded, that doesn't have the proper curvature, so that when you actually start taking off burrs, you may actually start taking off too much material. You want to use something that can go along the inside of the bore and or inside the muzzle in a smooth fashion, and then then use some very fine sandpaper, or maybe emery cloth, or like I said, this plumber's sandpaper I use. And then you got a nicely cut barrel. The next thing I want to do is going to be on installing a bead sight, which may be a bit more difficult because on previous projects I had a vent rib that I can work from, a nice flat surface, so I get to find the middle. But now I'm gonna be doing it. I gotta do it to this barrel. But please share your thoughts. Do you agree with the method I use? Would you change anything up? Are there any better tools out there for people to buy? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. I really appreciate new subscribers. Like the video, share with other people. Let them know this is a good. Tell them what you think about this source of information. Share your thoughts on the project. If you have any gripes, complaints, send me a PM. I see what I can do to address them. But that's my video. This is the Remington Model 11 Defender project, and this is just a simple barrel cutting. I'm Edward Jones, and take care and God bless.